My precious child. Something brought you here, not an algorithm, not an accident. A part of you that has been awake at the wrong hours, scanning for something it cannot name, something that recognized this message before your mind decided to stop. That part of you already knows what this is about, and it is the part I am speaking to. I am not going to let you watch this from a comfortable distance. I am asking you to let this be for you specifically, for the exact situation you are in, for the exact weight you have been carrying, for the specific place in your story where you have been standing longer than you ever intended to stand. You are closer to a wrong turn than you have been willing to admit. I say that not to alarm you, but because you are one of the people I love too much to speak carefully around. And what I have to say today is not for the surface of your life. It is for the part underneath all of that. The part that is exhausted from managing, exhausted from performing okayness, while something unresolved runs beneath every ordinary thing you do. Stay with me, give me your full presence, not 1 foot in the next task. This moment is asking for all of you. I know what has been happening beneath the ordinary rhythm of your days, not in general terms. In the specific texture of it, you have been performing stability. That is the precise word. You have been showing up to your life, doing what is required, maintaining what needs maintaining, and underneath it all something has been running that you cannot switch off. A pull towards something you already have history with. History that should be enough to answer the question, but somehow never quite is. You have given it other names: stress, a phase, the residue of too much happening too fast, and you have believed those names just enough to keep moving without addressing what is actually underneath them. But there is a version of yourself that exists before the explanations, before the language you use to make this presentable. And that version knows exactly what this is. There is a door, not a metaphor. Something real and specific in your life that has been calling to you again. Something you keep telling yourself you are not going back to, while your hand is already on the handle. You know what it is. You have known for a while. And the reason it has stayed unnamed in the light, even though it has been completely present in the dark, is that naming it fully would mean having to decide something, and part of you is not sure you are ready to decide. That is why you are here, and that is exactly what I want to walk through with you today. I need you to hear this. I have been with you in every moment that formed the person sitting here right now, not watching from a distance, present in the room in the silence, after the conversation that left you more alone than before it started, in the hours that were not about the clock, but about an ache that does not have a clean name. In the moments when you answered honestly, when people asked how you were doing, and the gap between the answer and the truth was wider than anyone around you knew. I was there when the loneliness became loud enough that you would have accepted almost anything to quiet it. I was there when what you first reached for, out of genuine need, became familiar, and familiar became comfortable, and comfortable became something you organized your private life around, without ever quite deciding to. I saw the smile you wore in public over what you were carrying in private. I saw the choices you made when your heart was starving for real comfort. And real comfort did not seem to be within reach. Most people in your life have seen the answer you give. I have seen the truth, the full version, not only the chapter you feel guilt about, the chapter that came before it, where you were in genuine pain simply looking for a way to carry less of it, the exhaustion that preceded the choice, the specific texture of the loneliness that made the wrong thing feel like the only thing within reach, the hunger that was so real, so completely understandable, that I watched it move you toward exactly what it moved you toward. And I understood why. And from that complete picture, from knowing everything, I am choosing to speak to you, because something has taken hold in your thinking as a result of all of that history. And it sounds so much like wisdom by now that you have stopped questioning it. It says you are capable of handling this again. You survived it before you know where the lines are. This time you go in with your eyes open. I need you to hear this directly. The ability to survive something is not permission to keep returning to it. Endurance is not wisdom. Familiarity is not safety. Your capacity to come through difficulty is real. I placed it in you. But that capacity was not designed to be used as justification for re-entering what was meant to be left behind. Some things were designed to be passed through once, so that what is waiting ahead has room to grow where those things once lived. I am not speaking to you with harshness. Hear the tone of this correctly. I am speaking the way someone speaks when they can see from where they stand something forming on the road ahead that the person still on that road cannot yet see. Not to frighten, to give you the chance to turn before the cost becomes the kind you carry for years. This is not a threat. This is mercy arriving before its absence would be most felt. The fact that this found you today, at this place in your story, is not something I need you to explain away. If these words are touching something real in you right now, drop a comment below and say "Found me." And if someone came to mind as you were reading this, share this with them before you close it. That thought about them was not random. Before I go further, I want to ask you to do something uncomfortable. Not because I want you to be uncomfortable, because what I am about to ask is the one thing that genuinely shifts the dynamic of everything we are discussing. Be honest with me, not the version you have constructed for other people, not the framing that makes the situation sound understandable when you explain it out loud. The version that exists before the explanation, the one you have access to at 2 in the morning, when there is no audience and no story to maintain. Tell me the real name of what is pulling at you. Tell me what it actually promises. Tell me what it has actually delivered in the past when you followed it. Not what you hoped it would deliver. What it actually left you with. I already know all of this. I am not asking for my benefit. I am asking for yours, because something changes in you when you stop hiding something even from yourself. When you bring a thing out of the protected language of private negotiation and into the clear, unflinching light of honest acknowledgement, the thing changes. It does not disappear immediately, but the authority it has been operating with, the authority that belongs only to things living in the dark, begins to loosen. I placed honesty in you for exactly this moment. It is the first real weapon against the pull. And right now the pull has more power than it deserves, partly because you have been allowing it to live in softened language that makes it sound more manageable than it is. Name it without that language just once. That single act will begin to shift something I have been waiting for you to shift. If the honesty in this moment is opening something in you, let that honesty become more than a feeling. Now, let me address something that has been working on you gradually enough that you may not have noticed the accumulation. It is not the specific thing you are struggling with. It operates underneath that thing, shaping your perception at a level deeper than any single decision. You have been measuring what belongs in your life by the wrong standard, and the standard you have been using is not difficult to imitate. The voices in your life, and I use that word broadly, people, patterns, things you return to when you are most depleted, have been evaluated by one primary question: does this feel like what I need right now? When the answer is yes, you let it in. And the problem with that standard is that it cannot distinguish between what genuinely helps you and what has simply learned what you respond to. Think about this honestly. There are things you return to right now that produce immediate relief and leave you slightly less yourself each time you walk away. Not dramatically less. A degree at a time, just enough that no single day feels like a meaningful change. But across 6 months, the version of you that existed at the beginning of that period, and the version standing here now, the resolve that has softened, the things you are willing to excuse that you were not before, the growing distance between who you know yourself to be and the choices you have actually been making. That distance did not appear all at once. It was guided, a degree at a time, by voices that felt like help and functioned as drift. I want you to understand something about the voices you have been letting in. Comfort and truth do not always travel together. A voice can be genuinely warm and carry something corrosive beneath the warmth. A voice can sound like the most precise understanding you have ever received, and still be steering you away from what is real. A voice can make you feel finally known in a way you have been hungry to feel known, and still be the very thing that is costing you the most. The feeling of being understood is one of the most powerful things you can experience. I know that. I know how long you have carried weight that the people closest to you have not been able to fully reach. When something suddenly speaks directly into that specific weight, it feels like what you have been waiting for. And because that feeling is so rare and so needed, it can override almost everything else. If you are not asking the question that actually matters, where is this taking me? Soft does not mean safe. The most costly things in your life have almost never arrived loudly. They arrive gently, in exactly the register your specific ache required. Gentle is not the same as good. Comforting is not the same as trustworthy. If this is reaching somewhere specific in you, say, I hear this in the comments. And if you know someone who has been letting the wrong thing in because it finally made them feel understood, send this to them. They may need it more than they know how to say. A message like this may find someone at midnight, in a room no one else sees, right before they return to the wrong door. Here is what I want you to practice. When a voice reaches you, I want you to change the question you ask about it. Instead of "Does this feel like what I need?" ask, "What does this produce in me across the next several days, not in the first hour, after several days of living with it? Do you feel more clear or more foggy? Do you feel more like yourself or slightly less? Do you feel more rooted in what you know to be true, or more willing to negotiate things you had already settled? Do you feel more capable of moving toward what matters? Or do you find yourself generating well-reasoned excuses for why this is not quite the right moment? Those questions will show you what tone of voice never will. Because tone can be managed, trajectory cannot be counterfeited for long. Where something actually takes you over time is the truest thing about it. I have given you enough history with the voices that have had access to you to trace those trajectories. Honestly, use what I have given you. There is one more thing I want to say before I get to the most important part of what I have to tell you today. It concerns something that is particularly active in your situation right now, the urgency you have been feeling. I want you to bring everything to stillness before you bring it to action. Take what has been pressing for a decision and hold it in the quiet before you let it pull you into motion. And then pay attention to what it does there. What is not from me cannot survive your peace. The things currently pushing for an answer need your stability to be disrupted in order to stay persuasive. The moment you move toward genuine stillness, toward saying, "I am going to get clear before I move," pressure escalates. It finds new arguments. It tells you the window is closing. That waiting will cost you something irreplaceable. That the time to act is before you have had a chance to think. It needs the noise. When your peace is actually intact, it loses its grip. The way I lead is different, in a way that is simple to test. What is genuinely from me does not become more frantic when you pause to get clear. It can coexist with your stillness. It does not require your clarity to be impaired as a condition of your agreement. It can wait. In fact, what I am asking of you most often becomes clearest not in the urgency, but in the quiet that comes before it. If what is pressing you cannot survive your pause, that is not a minor observation. That is critical information about what is actually driving it. Say, "I receive this." If these words are speaking into something you are navigating right now, you are allowed to be unhurried. The patience you bring to a moment of pressure is not weakness. It is the most protective thing available to you. Let it be simple. Let it be grateful. Let it be a way of saying you want this message to find the next person before pressure makes the decision for them. Now the most important thing I will say today, I have been building toward this because I believe it is what you most need to receive clearly before you decide what to do next. You have been here before at a version of this same crossroads, and in those previous versions you chose based on which direction hurt, less in the immediate hour. Letting something go felt sharp and present and costly right now. Returning felt softer, more survivable. So you chose what cost less today, without fully calculating what that choice would cost you over the months that followed. I want to give you a way to see this, that most people only understand after it is too late to change the direction they chose. There are two kinds of pain available to you in what you are facing. Both are real, both will cost you something, but the way they unfold across time is almost completely opposite. And understanding the difference changes what the next season of your life looks like. The first is the pain of the right choice. It arrives the moment you make it. The ache of a door closing that part of you still want it open. The specific grief of releasing something that has occupied a real place in your life, even when that place was never quite right. The strange weight of saying no to something your heart is still oriented toward, even while your mind knows exactly why. That pain is real and immediate, and I will not ask you to minimize it. There is something genuine that it costs to choose rightly when everything in you is leaning the other direction. But I need you to understand something about this kind of pain. It moves. It has direction. It does not hold its same weight indefinitely. From the moment the right choice is made, something it planted begins to grow. Slowly and visibly at first, but growing. The space that felt hollow after a right decision begins with time to fill with what could not grow there while the wrong thing occupied it. Clarity that does not need renegotiation, a quality of peace that does not depend on circumstances staying comfortable, a growing capacity to hear what matters, because what was distorting that signal has been removed. Months from now, if you make the right choice today, you will not look back on this moment as the day something ended. You will look back on it as the day something finally had the space it needed to begin. Now I want to show you the second kind of pain, the one that comes from continuing against what you already know. I need you to look at this clearly. It does not arrive when you make the choice. That is precisely what makes it so difficult to recognize until it is already well underway. In the moment of choosing the easier path, the familiar one, the one your system has organized itself around returning to, you do not feel pain. You feel relief. The pressure releases. The familiar warmth returns. Things feel manageable again. For a period, that relief is the genuine experience. You wonder what you were so worried about, but underneath that relief, in the places you do not visit every day, something is accumulating, a gradual dimming of the clarity you had before, a quiet movement away from the certainty you once carried about what was and was not acceptable, a slow increase in willingness to excuse what you had said was not excusable, a degree at a time, almost invisible on any single day, adding up across weeks and months to a distance you never intended to travel, and one ordinary day with no dramatic moment you can point to. You look up and find yourself somewhere you did not mean to be. The path back exists. It always does. But it is longer now than it needed to be, more entangled. The return costs more from your energy, your trust in your own judgment, your belief that you can actually change. And the things that were waiting to grow on the other side of the right choice, they did not grow. The season moved past them. I need you to hear that as the actual cost of the second kind of pain, not a single identifiable loss you can point to. A slow compound loss, paid in small, unmarked installments across time, until the total is somewhere you never intended to arrive. I am asking you, plainly, to choose the first kind, the immediate directional pain that builds something in its wake, not because I do not understand what it asks of you. I understand it exactly. I am asking because I have seen both roads. I have seen what is waiting on the other side of the right choice, and I am telling you it is worth the entry cost. I have seen it. Trust that what I have seen is real. You do not need to feel at peace about this. I am not asking for performed emotion. Only honesty and the willingness to act on what you already know, even when what you know costs something real from you, especially then, because that is the only place genuine faith actually lives. Not in the seasons that cost you nothing, and the moments that ask for something you were not sure you had left. Before you go on, share this with someone who keeps choosing the second kind of pain without knowing there is a name for what they are choosing. You know who that person is. I want you to use the evidence you already carry, not as sentiment. As data, look back at a right choice you made that hurt when you made it. Something genuinely costly. And then follow that memory forward into the season that came after. What grew in the space that choice opened? What became possible that was not possible before? What the following months looked like compared to what you left? That is not coincidence. That is the pattern of a life where the right choices, even the painful ones, were allowed to produce something rather than simply being survived. And that pattern is available to you again starting now, starting from the choice in front of you. I have not carried you through everything you have already survived to watch you trade the ground you have taken for the temporary relief of returning to what cost it. There is something solid under your feet right now that was not always there. Do not exchange it, not for comfort with a hidden cost attached to it, not for the familiar weight of something that has always, without exception, left you more alone on the way out than it found you on the way in. This reaching you today is itself evidence. I do not send words like this into situations I have walked away from. I do not speak ahead of consequence into lives I have given up on. This is proof that I am still near, still present, still holding a different door open. Walk through it, not after more thought. Stay near me not only in the crisis hours when there is nowhere else to turn. In the ordinary ones, the early morning before the day has asked anything, the pause between tasks, the quiet at the end of the night when the noise finally settles and you are alone with what is true. Come to me in those moments. Not because every exchange needs to be heavy with meaning, but because what we build together in the small, consistent hours is what makes the right choice available in the large, urgent ones. Steadiness at the moment of decision is not something borrowed on demand. It is built slowly in the moments before pressure arrives, in the choosing of presence over noise when nothing seems to require it. I am with you in what comes next, not watching to see whether you pass present. Close when the cost of the right choice rises and everything in you wants to go back. I will be there. When the pull returns, and it will return, I will be the one steady voice available if you stay near enough to hear it. This is not the end of what I am building in you. What you choose today matters more than you have yet been willing to sit with. So sit with it, let its weight land, and then choose the right thing. Not for today, for every day that follows. I am not finished with your story, not even close. And what is waiting on the other side of the right choice is more than what you are holding on to right now. Say yes in the comments if you are choosing to move forward. And if this message said something you needed to hear today, share it with someone who is carrying what you were carrying when this began. They needed to find them the way it found you. You are not alone. I am always with you, enveloping you in all my protection.